Welcome to Stories with Sarah. My name's Sarah, and today I'll be reading The Armless Maiden, which is a Russian fairy tale. In a certain kingdom, not in our land, there lived a wealthy merchant. He had 2 children, a son and a daughter. The father and mother died. The brother said to the sister, "Let us leave this town, little sister. I will run a shop and trade and find lodging for you. We will live together." They went to another province. When they came there, the brother inscribed himself in the merchants' guild and rented a shop of woven cloths. The brother decided to marry and took a sorceress to wife. One day he went to trade in his shop and said to his sister, "Keep order in the house, sister." The wife felt offended because he had said this to his sister. To revenge herself, she broke all the furniture, and when her husband came back, she met him and said, "See what a sister you have! She has broken all the furniture in the house." "Too bad, but we can get some new things," said the husband. The next day, when leaving for his shop, he said farewell to his wife and to his sister, and said to his sister, "Please, little sister, see to it that everything in the house is kept as well as possible." The wife bided her time, went to the stables, and cut off the head of her husband's favorite horse with a saber. She waited on the porch. "See what a sister you have," she said. "She has cut off the head of your favorite horse." "Ah, let the dogs eat what is theirs," answered the husband. On the 3rd day, the husband again went to his shop, said farewell, and said to his sister, "Please look after my wife, so that she does not hurt herself or the baby, if by chance she gives birth to one." When the wife gave birth to her child, she cut off his head. When her husband came home, he found her sitting and lamenting over her baby. "See what a sister you have! No sooner have I given birth to my baby than she cut off his head with a saber." The husband did not say anything. He wept bitter tears and turned away. Night came. At the stroke of midnight he rose and said, "Little sister, make ready. We are going to Mass." She said, "My beloved brother, I do not think it is a holiday today." "Yes, my sister, it is a holiday. Let us go." "It is still too early to go, brother," she said. "No," he answered. "Young maidens always take a long time to get ready." The sister began to dress. She was very slow and reluctant. Her brother said, "Hurry, sister, get dressed." "Please," she said. "It is still early, brother." "No, little sister, it is not early. It is high time to be gone." When the sister was ready, they sat in a carriage and set out for Mass. They drove for a long time or a short time. Finally, they came to a wood. The sister said, "What wood is this?" He answered, "This is the hedge around the church." The carriage was caught in a bush. The brother said, "Get out, little sister. Disentangle the carriage." "Ah, my beloved brother, I cannot do that. I will dirty my dress." "I will buy you a new dress, sister, a better one than this." She got down from the carriage, began to disentangle it, and her brother cut off her arms to the elbows, struck his horse with the whip, and drove away. The little sister was left alone. She burst into tears and began to walk in the woods. She walked and walked, a long time or a short time. She was all scratched, but could not find a path leading out of the woods. Finally, after several years, she found a path. She came to a market town and stood beneath the window of the wealthiest merchant to beg for alms. This merchant had a son, and only one, who was the apple of his father's eye. He fell in love with the beggar woman and said, "Dear father and mother, marry me." "To whom shall we marry you?" "To this beggar woman." "Ah, my dear child, do not the merchants of our town have lovely daughters? Please marry me to her," he said. "If you do not, I will do something to myself." They were distressed because he was their only son. their life's treasure. They gathered all the merchants and clerics and asked them to judge the matter. Should they marry their son to the beggar woman or not? The priest said, "Such matter must be his fate, and God gives your son his sanction to marry the beggar woman." So the son lived with her for a year, and then another year, and at the end of that time he went to another province where her brother had his shop. When taking his leave, he said, "Dear father and mother, do not abandon my wife. As soon as she gives birth to a child, write to me that very hour." 2 or 3 months after the son left, his wife gave birth to a child. His arms were golden up to the elbows. His sides were studded with stars. There was a bright moon on his forehead and a radiant sun near his heart. The grandparents were overjoyed and at once wrote their beloved son a letter. They dispatched an old man with this note in all haste. Meanwhile, the wicked sister-in-law had learned about all this and invited the old messenger into her house. "Come in, little father," she said, "and take a rest." "No, I have no time. I am bringing an urgent message." "Come in, little father, and take a rest. Have something to eat." She sat him down to dinner, took his bag, found the letter in it, read it, and tore it into little pieces, and wrote another letter instead. "Your wife," it said, "had given birth to a half dog and half beast that she conceived with beasts in the woods." The old messenger came to the merchant's son and handed him the letter. He read it and burst into tears. He wrote in answer, asking that his son be not molested till he return. "When I come back," he said, "I will see what kind of baby it is." The sorceress again invited the old messenger into her home. "Come in, sit down. Take a rest," she said. Again she charmed him with talk, stole the letter he carried, read it, tore it up, and instead ordered that her sister-in-law be driven out of the moment the letter was received. The old messenger brought this letter. The father and mother read it and were grieved. "Why does he cause us so much trouble?" they said. "We married him to the girl, and now he does not want his wife." They pitied not so much the wife as the babe. So they gave their blessing to her and the babe, tied the babe to her breast, and sent her away. She went, shedding bitter tears. She walked for a long time or a short time, all in an open field, and there was no wood or village anywhere. She came to a dale and was very thirsty. She looked to the right and saw a well. She wanted to drink from it, but was afraid to stoop, lest she drop her baby. Then she fancied that the water came closer. She stooped to drink, and her baby fell into the well. She began to walk around the well, weeping and wondering how to get her child out of the well. An old man came up to her and said, "Why are you weeping, you slave of God?" "How can I help weeping? I stooped over the well to drink water, and my baby has fell into it." "Bend down and take him out." "No, little father, I cannot. I have no hands, only stumps." "Do as I tell you. Take your baby." She went to the well, stretched out her arms, and God helped, for suddenly she had her hands all whole. She bent down, pulled her baby out, and began to give thanks to God, bowing in all four sides. She said her prayers, went on further, and came to the house where her brother and husband were staying, and asked for shelter. Her husband said, "Brother, let the beggar woman in. Beggar women can tell stories and recount real happenings." The wicked sister-in-law said, "We have no room for visitors. We are overcrowded." "Please, brother, let her come. There's nothing I like better than to hear beggar women tell tales." They let her in. She sat on the stove with her baby. Her husband said, "Now, little dove, tell us a tale, any kind of story." She said, "I do not know any tales or stories, but I can tell the truth." And she began, "In a certain kingdom not in our land, lived a wealthy merchant. He had 2 children, a son and a daughter. The father and mother died. The brother said to his sister, "Let us leave this town, little sister." They came to another province. The brother inscribed himself in the merchant's guild and took shop of woven cloth. He decided to marry and took a sorceress to wife. At this point, the sister-in-law muttered, "Why does she bore us with her stories? That hag." But the husband said, go on, little mother. I love such stories more than anything." And so, the beggar woman went on. The brother went to trade in his shop and said to his sister, "Keep order in the house, sister." The wife felt offended because he had said this to his sister, and out of spite broke all the furniture. And then she went on to tell how her brother took her to mass and cut off her hands, how she gave birth to a baby, how her sister-in-law lured the old messenger. And again the sister-in-law interrupted her, crying, "What gibberish she is telling!" But the husband said, "Brother, order your wife to keep quiet. It is a wonderful story, is it not?" She came to the point when her husband wrote to his parents, ordering that the baby be left in peace until his return, and the sister-in-law mumbled, "What nonsense!" Then she reached the point when she came to the house as a beggar woman, and the sister-in-law mumbled, "What is this old bitch gibbering about?" And the husband said, "Brother, order her to keep quiet. Why does she interrupt all the time?" Finally, she came to the point in the story when she was let in and began to tell the truth instead of a story. And then she pointed at them and said, "This is my husband, this is my brother, and this is my sister-in-law." Then her husband jumped to her on the stove and said, "Now, my dear, show me the baby. Let me see whether my father and mother wrote me the truth." They took the baby, removed its swaddling cloths, and the whole room was illuminated. So it is true that she did not tell us just a tale. Here is my wife, and here is my son, golden up to the elbows, his sides studded with stars, a bright moon on his forehead, and a radiant sun near his heart. The brother took the best mare from his stable, tied his wife to its tail, and let it run in the open field. The mare dragged her on the ground until she brought back only her braid. The rest was strewn on the field. Then they harnessed 3 horses and went home to the young husband's father and mother. They began to live happily and to prosper. I was there and drank mead and wine. It ran down my mustache but did not go into my mouth. And that, my dear friends, was The Armless Maiden.